you are also promoting general purpose technologies. Okay. Please tell my audience about such technologies that you call general purpose technologies. Yeah. What are they?
I mean, general purpose technologies basically are transformation technologies on which others build upon. And the reason why I find it so important goes back to the access question. And when we use an example, we could maybe use, let's say, electricity. And as electricity came in, immediately, once you have electricity, there, as a general purpose technology, there are so many other technologies that you can now utilize, where you can innovate, where you can basically transform the way we live, be it from how we commute, how we create energy. Almost everything changes once you have that, like one of those general purpose technologies.
Yeah.
And to some extent, we are just behind in those general purpose technologies of a century ago. Because when you say electricity, this is not a general purpose technology.
19th century.
Exactly.
More than 100 years ago.
Exactly. So what I find is important, of course, we are playing catch up in terms of now building up these general purpose technologies. But we should not forget that there is new ones coming. Yeah. And if we forget that we need to build, whether that is artificial intelligence, whether that is blockchain, whatever it is, we need to understand that, yes, the technology is there, but it's, as the word declares, it's a general purpose technology that then enables so many new things to happen. And if you miss the train for the general purpose technologies, you basically cut off the possibilities to create all the other innovations and solutions that can come out of it. Yes. So I think that's the best way how I can describe it, and why I think it's important, because it goes exactly back to where we started, kind of the access one, because electricity is the simplest to say. It's like, yeah, we can talk a lot about education and everything, but if electricity is not there in this day and age, it's a tough one. Yeah. I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, there's possibilities in terms to a certain level, but then eventually to create solution in this day and age, definitely, it's, as you said, more than 100 years ago. So what's the next technology? And it seems like maybe 100+ years ago, there was some kind of fast advances of technologies coming up, but you can see that we might be at the dawn of something similar. And it would just be a wasted opportunity for us to completely be left behind, because what it does is, if you do not have the general purpose technology, you will need it eventually, and it will be provided by others, and you cannot really, as we said, create the solutions that build upon all of that. And you can also not use those technologies to shape the solutions with those technologies according to your circumstances.
Yeah. See, Daniel, it baffles me why we are struggling with something that have been perfected over 100 years ago. See, without constant electricity, Africa can never industrialize.
Clearly.
See, a lot of I follow several pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever, of African Forum. Okay. And they talk about the difficulties in Africa, but very few, I can even say nobody on that forum ever talks about this general purpose technology. Now, early 2000s, the telecom boom came to Africa.
Yeah.
Okay, with the mobile phone. Okay, and since then, think about it. Africa is one of the fastest innovating continents using the mobile phone.
Yeah.
Okay. The telecoms is another general purpose technology. Okay. Now look at how fast we have come in that space, just because we finally allowed ourselves to have that technology.
Yeah.
If only our countries have focused to make sure electricity is available. Now,
yeah.
I don't know how much urbanization is happening in Ghana, but in Nigeria, a lot of people are moving away from small towns and villages, moving into Lagos and Abuja. And those cities are growing so fast and disrupting so many things. Now, yes, I know urbanization will still happen, even if we have electricity everywhere, but it will be less, because there are so many things that with electricity we could have done in those rural areas, would have expanded our towns, okay, in a manner that development will spread across the country.
Yeah.
Okay. Right now, development is done. It's only within a small spaces, and it's being very it's being done in a very disjointed manner, because one thing, we don't have those general purpose technologies, especially electricity.
Especially electricity. And I think, of course, there is a lack of planning as well. I mean, obviously. And I mean, you can use multiple examples. I mean, in the Ghanaian context, for instance, we had the Akosombo Dam, and we were in a lucky position that it produced more than enough electricity. But then how many decades did we wait to add significant power generation capacity? We waited basically until we had an electricity crisis, and then we started to react. And when you're talking about the large cities, I mean, I stayed in Lagos for 3 years. So,
okay. I grew up in Lagos, so.
Okay, great. And then you look at it, that was after my MBA. So I came back from Europe. I'm now in Lagos. And when you think about it, Lagos is 500 kilometers away from Accra.
Okay.
So if you take that back to the European context, I mean, you could have people who just shuttle easily between these two cities.
Exactly.
Or you can live in one
by
city.
train.
By train, no problem. But then you start to look at it and you see 500 kilometers apart. But again, the access, the infrastructure issue starts with the roads.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you start to think about the urbanization, the fast-growing populace. And you look at this, that this is Lagos, Cotonou, Lomé, Accra, 500 kilometers. 4 major cities of the respective countries.
Yeah.
And we are not able to connect them, because immediately you solve that problem, a lot is going to happen just by the ingenuity of the people.
Yeah.
And I'm mentioning all those things because I came from the Akosombo example where we did not plan ahead. And now I start to look at some of the smaller cities that are somewhere along these coastal lines, And you can see that some of them, by virtue of their geographic location, are kind of growing.
Yeah.
But nobody is thinking about the infrastructure of those new cities that are growing. So yes, we have the major issues in some of these, in the, let's say, Lagos and everything, but there's new cities popping up that were maybe not even cities 10, 15, 20 years ago, and they are turning into smaller cities, and they will keep growing.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at demography, everything seems to come down. Yes, there's urbanization to the Lagoses and maybe in our case, Accra, but it's an urbanization that these cities are always expanding that will go across that coastline for 500 kilometers.
Yeah.
There's so many problems that you can already see
coming.
Yeah. But there's not much thought, it seems, around that. And to an extent is like, yes, urbanization, we can clearly see the problems that come. But to an extent, it's, despite everything, it could also be an accelerator if done well, because it's an agglomeration of a lot of young people. If you give them the necessary tools, and again, we go back to the general purpose technologies and everything surrounding with it, and the access to education and so on and so forth. But it's sometimes a scary thought when you kind of see that there is not much, let me not say no, not much forward thinking, these kind of things.
Yeah, no plan. You know,
exactly.
See, for me, I think the most crucial thing for the government is education. Okay, see, education, I'll give it to the government, okay, to have that policy and the general policy to enable entrepreneurship to thrive in our society. See, if our government build the enabling environment, okay, entrepreneurs can solve the most difficult problems once the policies are done properly. You know, so the government do not need to be providing certain services that entrepreneurs can do better. You know, yeah.